Hey skincare nerds, welcome back. So if you've been trying to get rid of the blackheads on your nose and you're just not seeing any results, well, it turns out that those might not actually be blackheads at all. They might be something called sebaceous filaments. Today, we're gonna talk about what they are, why they're different to blackheads, and yes, how to get rid of them. Okay, so let's just jump straight into it. What are sebaceous filaments? Look really closely at the tip of your nose. Do you see small pin-like dots on the pore that kind of look like this? Those are sebaceous filaments. They're just a tiny collection of sebum, aka oil, and some dead skin cells around a hair follicle. And don't worry, if you have them, they're not harmful to your skin health at all. They're actually totally normal to have. They help channel the flow of sebum through the hair follicle to the surface of the skin, and it's what keeps your skin lubricated and flexible. They're basically in every single pore, and they're a part of a pore's natural structure. So everyone not only has them, but actually has a lot of them. It's just that some are more visible than others, especially if you have larger pores or oily skin. And they become more visible as your pore lining fills up with more sebum, and that's more common in your T-zone area because you actually have more oil glands there, and they're usually especially visible on the tip of your nose. So how can you tell the difference between sebaceous filaments and blackheads? For a lot of people, those sebaceous filaments might not be visible at all, but if you do have oilier skin or larger pores, those sebaceous filaments can be just as noticeable as blackheads. And if they are, it's really easy to get them confused because not only do they look similar, they both tend to show up in the same T-zone area where you tend to have a lot more oil glands. Okay, so the easiest way that you can tell the difference between the two is if there's a texture to it and paying attention to how dark it is. So blackheads are darker and they tend to have a bit of texture to them. They're usually a bit raised up from the skin and they don't feel totally smooth, while sebaceous filaments feel smooth and they aren't as dark. They might even look clear or have a kind of yellowish or grayish undertone to them. And again, they're also usually more visible on the tip of your nose. Another way you can tell is how they look when you extract them. Blackheads look kind of like a plug when you extract it, while sebaceous filaments look like an off-white or yellowish tube of wax being squeezed out. It's important to identify which one it is because they form for different reasons. Sebaceous filaments help oil flow to the skin and are a part of normal skin function. But if too much oil is produced and then also mixes with dead skin cells and bacteria gets trapped in there too, that mixture can clog the pores and can become a blackhead if it becomes exposed to air, causing oxidization and making it look black. So a sebaceous filament could become a blackhead. And because of that, you can also have a mix of them. By the way, if you do have blackheads, you can watch my tiny bumps video to understand a little bit more about comedones like whiteheads and blackheads and learn how they're related. How do you get rid of sebaceous filaments? First, I have some bad news. Because they're a part of your skin's normal function, you can only get rid of them temporarily. They will come back after 30 days and even earlier than that if you do have oilier skin. And because you'd have to go regularly, it could get expensive to go to a professional like your esthetician to get them removed. So unless it's a really huge problem for you, the best way to get rid of them is to focus on skincare that helps to control oil production and breaks up the buildup of sebum in the pore. Okay, so now let's talk about some products that you can add to your regular routine that can help you reduce the look of your sebaceous filaments. Let's start with salicylic acid or BHA. Salicylic acid is a great chemical exfoliator and it's especially good at breaking up the sebum or oil in your pores because it's fat soluble. So it's great at helping you reduce the look of your sebaceous filaments. So I really like this CeraVe Salicylic Acid Cleanser because it's extremely gentle and you can use it day and night and you can add it really easily into your routine. So just splash some water on your face and massage this in. Let it sit for a couple minutes just so you can let it work its magic and then wash it off with lukewarm water. But if you'd rather use a leave-on treatment instead, I love the Paula's Choice 2% BHA liquid exfoliant. I really love that it does the job, but it doesn't dry out my skin at all. So the recommended way to apply this product is with a cotton pad. But as some of you have pointed out on my video on this, if you want to save some product and you don't mind a little tingle on your fingers, then you can just apply it directly with your fingers. Next level up, retinoids. Retinoids are a little bit more intense, but they're great if you also have some acne or hyperpigmentation as well. They're a triple threat. They help to unclog pores, promote cell turnover, and stimulate collagen production. In terms of what's available over the counter, if you have just a really small area like the tip of your nose to treat, I'd recommend the Kinship Pimple Potion. So it's got retinol in it, which is short for retinaldehyde. It basically works the same as retinol, but just a little faster. The downside is that it can also cause inflammation a little easier as well. So that's why I really like it in a spot solution like this. And with this, you would only apply it on the areas where you need it, like your nose. If you're in the US and you have oilier skin, plus you're not a retinol newbie, then I'd recommend Different Gel, aka Adapalene. So a few things to remember if you're going to add a BHA or a retinoid into your routine. First, remember to patch test and be patient because with these two ingredients, some purging is possible. Second, if you're going to use both a BHA and a retinoid, you want to be safe rather than sorry. So I'd slowly introduce them into your routine, starting with the BHA first, twice a week, working up to daily, and then slowly adding in your retinol at night, starting with twice a week. I'd alternate the BHA and the retinoid in your routine, so the BHA in the morning and the retinoid at night. And that way you don't overdo it because these two ingredients can be really sensitizing. And third, make sure to follow up with a moisturizer always because BHA and retinoids can be extremely drying. And you don't want your skin to overcompensate for that dryness by producing even more sebum or oil. And last but not least, don't forget to always be sunscreening because these two ingredients will definitely increase your skin's sensitivity to the sun. Another solution for you if you like masking is a weekly mask. Natural clay masks with kaolin or bentonite are highly absorbent. So they'll absorb that excess oil on the surface of your skin and within your pores as well to help you get rid of those sebaceous filaments. An oldie but a goodie is the Aztec Secret Indian Healing Clay Mask with 100% bentonite clay from Death Valley. To use it, just mix it with water to make a paste and apply it to those areas where you do see sebaceous filaments and leave the mask on for 5 to 10 minutes if you tend to get irritation, or about 15 minutes otherwise before rinsing it off. So it might tingle a bit and it might cause some slight redness, but that should go away within 30 minutes. Some people will mix up apple cider vinegar with this, but there's not that much scientific evidence to back up any of the claims for the effectiveness of apple cider vinegar. And it also might increase irritation because of how acidic it is. So I'd be really careful about mixing this with apple cider vinegar. Another mask that combines both clay and BHA is the Ordinary's Salicylic Acid 2% mask. So it's got a kaolin clay base and 2% BHA. This one also tingles a bit when you apply it. So after cleansing, pat your face dry and apply this on dry skin. Leave it on for a maximum of 10 minutes and then rinse it off with lukewarm water. This one's pretty intense, so I wouldn't recommend using it with another BHA in the same routine. So the downside with the two masks that I did mention is that they can be very drying and also very irritating as well. So I wouldn't recommend it if you have sensitive skin, if your skin's peeling, like if you're going through the retinization process, or if you have broken skin. And also try and avoid getting it anywhere near the eye area, especially when you're rinsing it off. And as with any new product, if you're introducing these to your routine for the first time, always patch test and start slowly. You can always work up to more regular use. So I wanted to talk about a method that has gotten a lot of hype on Reddit, and that's called the oil cleansing method. It's based on the Chemistry 101 concept that like dissolves like. So an oil will be better able to dissolve the oil that's stuck in your pores than something like water. But there's also a lot of confusion surrounding cleansing oils. So I'm talking about a well-formulated oil cleanser with an emulsifier in it, not a pure carrier oil like jojoba oil. So emulsifiers have a water-loving end and an oil-loving end, so it sticks to the sebum in your skin and the oil in your cleanser. It will also attach to the water, which means that when you rinse, the sebum in your skin and the oil from your cleanser will go down the sink. And because of that, you won't have as much oily residue left over from the cleanser. And you also don't run the risk of backing up your sink like a pure oil will do. It's probably obvious, but the reason why you don't want oily residue is because it can make your sebaceous filaments look worse, clog your pores, even causing breakouts and milia, which are those little hard white bumps that can sometimes form on your face. So pick a cleansing oil that has an emulsifier in it, and definitely stay away from using anything that's not cosmetic grade like the olive oil from your kitchen, because that might worsen the problem. So what oil cleansers do I like? Well, if you're feeling a little bougie because it's the holidays and you want to treat yourself, I'd go for the Tatcha Pure One-Step Camellia Cleansing Oil. So the base oils in here are rice bran oil and camellia oil, which are moisturizing and packed with antioxidants and vitamins. And to apply, you don't need to splash water on your face beforehand. Just massage a couple pumps into your face and rinse with lukewarm water. For a more affordable option, DHC makes the OG cleansing oil. The base oil in that is olive oil, and it's very moisturizing as well and packed with antioxidants. Okay, so those are some of the things that you can do to help you deal with your sebaceous filaments. One last thing I'll leave you with is a pretty popular method from a blogger called 50 Shades of Snail that kind of combines a few of the products and ingredients I talked about earlier. It's only 6 steps, but make sure you have an hour because there's a lot of waiting involved. So step 1, apply a leave-on BHA and wait 20 to 25 minutes for the BHA to do its magic. Step 2, apply a clay mask on top, leaving it on for however long your mask instructions say you should leave it on for. You can combine these 2 steps by using the Ordinary's Salicylic Acid 2% mask because it's got both BHA and clay in it. Step 3, rinse off with lukewarm water. Step 4, apply your cleansing oil like the Tatcha cleansing oil and wait 15 minutes. Step 5, massage the cleansing oil in for 2 to 3 minutes. And step 6, the last step, splash your face with some lukewarm water to emulsify that oil and rinse it off. Okay, so that's it from me. Thanks so much for watching. I hope it was helpful for you. And if it was, don't forget to give your girl a like and subscribe and hit the notification bell so you don't miss out on any more informative skincare videos like this one. See you next time.